So if you're not familiar with Gatecreeper, they are a death metal band signed to Nuclear Blast. They're from Arizona in the US, and this is what they look like. So this is the album we're going to be listening to is this is their third record from obviously 2024. It's called Dark Superstition, and it's 10 songs coming in at 37 minutes and 19 seconds. So pretty excited about that. We're going to get started with the first song called Dead Star. And I don't know if you could see, but I kind of started listening to it, like I said, before I decided I wanted to do a reaction. I listened to like 10 seconds of Dead Star and I was like, I'm already liking what I'm hearing. I'm going to save it for a stream. But this is the first song, Dead Star. Girl, a ceiling fan under my ass right now, that's for my neighbor, by the way, is still going on. It's still on, and it still sounds like it's gonna fall off the wall. It literally sounds like it's this close to falling off the wall. It makes so much noise. That's so off topic, but it was like it was literally making so much noise at the end of that song. It was distracting. I'm sorry. Okay, great. That was a pretty, you know what, I like the sound. I like the production. I really like the guitar riffs, and I like the guitar tone. It's very melodic. It kind of reminds me of, from what I've listened to, it kind of reminds me of like Insomnium, kind of like the sad boy melodic death stuff. And so currently right now, I am almost done with the Black Dahlia Murders discography, because at the time that we're doing this stream, their new album is about to come out in like 3 days. I've been listening to that. So it kind of reminds me of this. Now, they're considered to be just a straight death metal band. But chat is saying that they're like hardcore vocals. They're hardcore kids, but they're doing death metal. And it sounds very mellow death to me. So I think the production so far sounds really nice. Like I said, I really like that guitar tone. So I'm enjoying what we're hearing. Also, I've got the lyrics pulled up over here. So that first song was called Dead Star. So we're going to get into the next track, which is called Oblivion. So let's get into it. Woo! All right, girl. I love how they pulled back everything for that bridge. I love when bands pull everything back and then they just have the little cymbal taps. And they put like a frick ton of reverb on them to just echo out. I mentioned in the first song too, the production on this album is just out of this world. It's really, really nice. Posture check. Okay. It's so nice. Everything is balanced super well. And I love how catchy the riffs are. This band is definitely reminding me of Undeath a little bit. I definitely heard a lot of the hardcore elements with this song Oblivion for sure. Would Gatecreeper be considered like a revival old school death metal band? Like one of those revival OSDM bands? Doesn't sound too polished or too overproduced, which seems to be kind of an issue with a lot of these more modern albums that are coming out, you know? That's how I felt about Terracite by Cattle. I felt like the production was way too clean, way too polished, and it just was like, it just wasn't for me. I do love Solastalgia off that album, but this I feel like still captures that old school kind of vibe, but it's clean. It just sounds very clean. So, all right. I mean, I like it. Short song too, sort of. I mean, the lyrics, there's not much for the lyrics. Mysterious eyes in the doorway, staring back. Who's that lurking behind me? What for? And I like this line too. Turn back the hands of time, violently shaking. Wake up. Living in disbelief. This can't be how I lose everything I love. And I like that they're talking about, I feel like not enough metal bands say the love word. They don't say the L word very often, so I like that. Something a little fresh. All right, let's get into the next song. This one's called The Black Curtain. So, love, what's that? I know, it's all about like cutting up women and zombies and like blood spurting from me. But like, God, we talk about like ladies and love. Like, you've got to be a glam metal band to basically do that. They don't really do that in the the heavier genres. All right, are we ready? Okay. I had a feeling before I even checked that they had released this as a single. It was the one and only single based on Metal Archives that they had released for this record. And I was like, this sounds catchy as hell. I wonder if this is one of the lead singles. And it was. They have an official music video for the song, The Black Curtain. And that's a banger. That's an absolute catchy banger. And again, the riffage, girl. The riffs are so good. Bum bum ba bum ba bum ba da da dun dun. I love that. I love that song. The Black Curtain, you're a winner. All of these songs so far have been really, really nice. It's not, chat is saying, it's not, particularly unique or new. No, it's not. I mean, let's be real. No music, metal or not, that's coming out is going to be particularly unique or new. It's very hard for artists these days to release something that actually feels new. I mean, the first example I'm thinking about that's not even metal, but is pop, which I didn't even listen to because I'm not a fan of it, but Brat by Charlie XCX is a perfect example of like a pop album that literally broke the internet because it's like club classics music, whatever. So I think it's hard for bands to stand out. Bringing it back to death metal, to our genre, I think what Gatecreeper's doing on this album is not particularly unique or new, but it's catchy and it's fun. And I think that that's like something, honestly, that a lot of bands are missing. A lot of artists forget that like people want fun albums, they want catchy albums, they want albums that they can just like listen to over and over again. Have you heard about Sleep Token? I have never listened to Sleep Token, really. I've got one song on my playlist and I listen to about 2/3 of it until it gets to their like weird breakdown and then I dip. Because I like his voice. It's like the one popular single that they have, but I like his voice and I'm a voice person. So if you've been watching me for a while, I love the human voice and what people can do with it. I'm also obsessed with drums and how they're recorded and how people, pan them and all of those things. I really, really like that song. It's catchy and it's fun. And that is what really is the most important thing to me as a listener, when it comes to these like newer bands, because obviously I'm a newbie metalhead, so it's like there's a lot of old school death metal bands and just old school metal bands in general that I still have not listened to and I'm still learning. Like I said, the Black Dahlia Murder is one of them, and they're not even like old school, It's like when it comes to, it's just an interesting position to be in because it's like I'm both learning the importance of these bands and what they did with the genre, and then seeing these new bands, which a lot of old heads, old metal heads hate with a passion, but they're getting a lot of press and whatever from people my age and younger, It's just interesting to see the ones who created the genre and then the ones that are taking inspiration from it and bringing it new life and kind of revitalizing that sound. So it's just going to continue to be the same way, and we should just get used to it, because from here on out, and this is in regards to all music, you're going to hear the same sort of trend. And because we're also kind of going full circle through the, you know, retro and vintage generations, the last like 10 years, we went through the whole 80s thing. We went through the whole 70s thing, you know. So you're going to get a lot of those throwback sounds in music production and with the branding and everything. There's a lot of pop artists that are doing country, you know, and I don't know why pop artists feel the need to, like, every time they think country music, it's got to be 70s country in attire, you know, but that's just kind of like broad spectrum. So as time goes on, we're going to get even newer bands than Gatecreeper that are going to be copying the same. They're going to be copying Gatecreeper. So then you'll have copies of copies of copies, and it's just going to continue, and the cycle's just going to keep going on. So the best thing that we can hope is that people try their best to be as genuine in their sound and as people, and try their best to bring something new to the table, and then also have their record be fun and catchy and engaging. So, and like I said, I feel like a lot of bands struggle with that. So I'm going to stop talking now. We're going to get into the fourth song, Masterpiece of Chaos. Gatekeeper. That was actually a Nothing Burger song. I ain't gonna lie. That literally offered nothing to the album. Masterpiece of Chaos, we could have just done without it. We literally could have done without that song. Dang, it was all killer, no filler until then. You liked the riff at the start, but that's it. Yeah, it had a different vibe. Like, coming out of, there's two things I noticed. Coming out of that lead single, which was, again, such a banger, The Black Curtain, coming out of that song, and then you get into, like, the beginning riff of Masterpiece of Chaos. It has a totally different vibe. It sounds very dark and depressing, and not in a good way. I don't know. It's just, it's very like, ugh, you know, because The Black Curtain, I'm not sure exactly what notes they're playing, but it almost seems like they're playing major chords or something that sounds very like bright and inspirational and happy in a way. It just sounds very uplifting, The Black Curtain. So going into the opening riff of Masterpiece of Chaos, it just brings that vibe down. It just brings the emotions kind of down, and then it offers nothing to the album. So they kind of rinse and repeat what they did, I think, on Oblivion, where they pulled back everything and then had the cymbal taps. But everything else is just pretty boring, honestly. That was a Nothing Burger song. The other thing I was going to say is they haven't really played around too much with the panning. So everything is balanced well and produced well, like I mentioned, but I'm not really noticing anything different, you know, with the production. They're not playing around with any of that stuff. They're playing it pretty safe. So, I mean, they're a newer band, you know. Nothing that they're playing is really like pushing the envelope, let's be real, but doesn't mean that you can't have fun with those things, you know. So it's like the cymbal taps are still placed here, just like they were for the previous song, Oblivion, I think. I like this band. I mean, I liked those first 3 songs. They were very, very good. So I really liked The Black Curtain. That is like absolutely the best song so far on this album. All right, let's get into the 5th track, Superstitious Visions. Wow, they actually have like a ton of lyrics for this song. Like, if you see in comparison to the previous record or the previous songs, like, this is Masterpiece of Chaos. That's how much lyrics they have for that. This is the same thing with Black Curtain. I guess Black Curtain's a little bit longer. Look at the difference. They had a lot to say on this song. So I really like what they're talking about too on this album, which I do and I don't know what we're talking about, but it seems like it's more about, I don't know, it just seems more personal. It doesn't seem like we're talking about, slashing bodies and blood and guts and gore. I mean, Cannibal Corpse is very gory, but, the typical death metal stuff. I also really liked In the Black Curtain. I loved this undead, unliving, lost soul trapped in a nightmare. Peel back the black curtain, say my name, tear through the veil. I really liked the way they delivered that. All right, we're going to get into Superstitious Visions. So let's go. Can we pick it up from Masterpiece of Chaos? All right. So they brought it back. I really like that song. They brought it back. They redeemed themselves from Masterpiece of Chaos. They absolutely did. Notice how they used that same kind of bright sounding guitar tone like they did with their single, The Black Curtain. It brings it kind of back to that inspirational, happy kind of vibe, which I really liked. The guitar riff sounds very familiar, kind of like recycled in a way. I'm not complaining. It's very catchy.
Yes,
hi. Slay! Hi, Chris P. How are you? Chris P. Hey. How are you doing? Welcome to the stream. We just finished listening to Superstitious Visions off of this Gatecreeper album, Dark Superstition. So, is this technically their title track? It could be, I guess, because they don't really have a title track, but this one's Superstitious Visions, Dark Superstitions. Could be. What was I saying? The guitar solo or like guitar riff sounds very similar to one of the previous tracks we had. I don't know if it was like a Dead Star or Oblivion. Sounds very similar. So the things that they did differently on this song that I really enjoyed, they play around with the cowbell, really nice. And did you notice that they had tambourine that was on, like, panned all the way here on the right side? Very, very nice. Very nice listening experience. Nice diversity. Because I'm obsessed with tambourine, I wish that they had increased the volume of that just a little bit. But I like that they played around with something different, because originally, before the actual bridge where they put those instruments, I was like, okay, I like the sound, I like the riff, but it's not necessarily anything new, right? I mean, it's the same kind of riff and guitar tone that we had in previous songs on this record. It's good, but what are we going to do that's different? What are we going to do that's going to kind of add a little bit of something? So that was a really nice piece of diversity that they added. I think it's really fun that they added cowbell, because I feel like cowbell is such a goofy instrument. It's kind of a goofy instrument to add. Whenever I hear cowbell, I always giggle, because I just think more cowbell, Either way, they brought it back. They redeemed themselves from Masterpiece of Chaos, which I did enjoy, and they played around with some different instruments, which I thought was great. So I hope that as we keep going through this record, I want them to let loose, I want them to I love guitar solos. I want them to smack me in the face with the best freaking guitar solo that they can give me. And I hope that this last song on this album, Tears Fall from the Sky, I hope it just slaps me silly, left and right. I want a guitar solo. They don't do solos? Turns the stream off. I hope they at least give me something. It doesn't necessarily have to be a solo. But either way, okay, let's get to track 6, A Chilling Aura. Ooh. Talking about the underworld, harvesting of souls. All right, let's get into it. Bro, the staccato delivery in that song, especially in the end over that main riff, is so fire. So we have officially entered our sad boy era with A Chilling Aura. That's what that is. This is totally, I mean, chat's saying it's mellow death. I feel like it sounds like a black metal riff. But I just think I don't listen and haven't listened to enough mellow death, honestly. I've listened to basically everything under the sun except for like a significant amount of mellow death. Because what I have for that is like Insomnium, Woods of Ibris, which Woods is definitely very sad boy. And then Children of Bodom. That's what I've got as a reference for like mellow death. And then I guess like BDM, people are saying that they're melodic death metal, which I originally thought that they were like deathcore when I was listening to them. Anyway, that's what I'm hearing. You think it's very mellow death. Okay. But a more 2000 style of mellow death. Okay. Because I was going to say there's some elements to this that remind me of like old school BDM. Like the first few albums, Unhallowed, and then what's the other one I really liked? Nocturnal, I think it's the blue one. It seems like they would be a very fun band to see live. I really enjoyed this song. Definitely that sad boy, you know, kind of vibe, which I don't mind. The riff slapped. I was vibing. I was jamming. That is so catchy, so good. And I feel like the guitar tone is different. It sounds different. It sounds more... Yeah. Where's the... Sorry, I'm hopping. Because it just seems more... Maybe not, though. Maybe it is the same vibe, but it just sounds different. Maybe it's just a little bit thinner, a little bit more fuzz, a little more grain to it. A Chilling Aura, you're a winner, girl. You're 100% a winner. The staccato delivery of the drums over the main riff is so nasty and so good. So I really liked it. Oh, and can we also talk about the screams, girl? Can we talk about his actual screams in this song? Love it. Love to see the diversity in the vocal range too, because that's another thing is we really haven't seen much, dynamic vocals, right? It's kind of just been the same delivery. We haven't even really gotten any like doubles. Like I don't think he's doubled anything. Obviously he's done mostly the same like lower scream, but those high hardcore screams, girl, that reminded me so much of Trevor Strnad, and it also made me think of is it Rashid from Wormrot? I think it's Rashid. But there's another guy with an A name, and I'm totally forgetting his name. I'm always a fan of high screams. Yeah. Those screams are absolute money. So I love the vocal diversity that they did there. So they're switching it up. I still think the weakest song so far is Masterpiece of Chaos. That just filler. Didn't add anything. But I'm liking that we're in this sad boy era. So we're going to get into the 7th song on this record called Caught in the Treads. Ooh, I hope that this is an angry song. I hope that this is an angry track. So let's go. Oh, that's nasty, girl. Okay, we're kind of in like angry sad boy era. That's where we're at with this song. And he did a little bit of something vocal layering. A little vocal layering. Love the riffs. Like I said, it's like A Chilling Aura, but it just has a little oomph to it. Little angst. So I don't know if he's been doubling some of his vocals through this record, but he definitely did in some of these sections. And what I noticed too, he has a really nice reverb effect on his vocals. It's very faint, but you can hear it after he's done enunciating something. It's kind of got this like roomy crowd effect to it, to where it almost sounds like a gasp at the end of his vocals, which is really cool. And then when he was doubling, they're very low. They're very low in the mix. I wish that he had brought those up higher, because I just love layered vocals like that. But when he was emphasizing, I don't know, I guess it's like final verse or something, he had a couple layered doubles like right here in the listening experience. Mom, I'm literally streaming right now. Thank you. She's calling me. But the doubles were like right here. So they're just very low in the mix. So, but you can still hear them if you've got headphones. I like that song. I like that song. Grooves in the soil. We ride in the iron beast. Lost fallen souls trapped in the steel. I don't know about you, bestie, but beast and steel don't rhyme. Fields of the dead lay at our feet. War-torn skies are bleeding red. Tanks roll on forever. All that's left behind are enemies caught in the treads. I like that. I feel like we've changed vibes too. Did you know that? Did you hear that? I feel like we started out as this like typical like, you know, new wave death metal kind of hardcore vocals, and now I feel like we're totally switching into this kind of sad boy emotional, not saying it's a bad thing. Is it new wave, old school revival? I don't know, don't come at me, okay? Remember, newbie. But right now it's like melodic. It feels, this song especially made me feel like I was listening to, I don't know, Immortal, or like I was treading through the snow or something. Like I feel like we're kind of listening to black metal. It's like the same kind of vibe for me. And maybe that's just because I don't have, Mom, I'm literally streaming, ma'am. We got Flesh Habit next. We're talking about Flesh. So, yep, I think this is where we go back to our, this is where we go back to our like, you know, roots with the death metal. We're going to talk about, you know, some blood. You know, you look at these lyrics, it's like a torturous obsession with your blood, ravenously feasting on your skin. It's dripping down my chin. Yep, here we are. We're back to our roots. We've decided to stop talking about, you know, our emotions and love and people that we care about in our lives, and we're back to you know, flossing our teeth with the veins of our enemies. So that would actually be a fire song. Ain't gonna lie. Mom? Ma'am, I'm streaming. OMG. Flesh Habit. Let's go. Meh. Yeah, it's definitely a death metal power ballad, you know? That is a confusing song. That is a very confusing song, because we are like sad boy power, like not power metal, but like power ballad. There you go. It's like sad boy, death metal, power ballad. But instead of talking about, like, you know, my girlfriend broke up with me, my life's so miserable, like, yada, yada, we're talking about, like, well, I guess we are, but we're talking about, like, blood. I mean, I guess we're talking about, yeah, we're talking about some freaky shit in this song. We're talking about love, and we're talking about, like, eating blood and stuff like that. Look, these lyrics don't make no sense. Every night I need to feed, burning like a fire inside my veins, insane. In the light of the full moon, in the dark of the night, melancholic passion fuels my thirst after midnight. I mean, like, kind of bars, but like, what do you mean? Driven by lust in the graveyard mist, insatiable. Shedding my skin, howling at the moon. What the fuck, are we, a werewolf? We're a vampire? It's a vampire song. Emo in disguise. Consumed by an overwhelming urge. Regret the hunger, flesh habit. Oh, so it's like Twilight. We're talking about like Twilight stuff, right? We're basically like Edward. A torturous obsession with your blood, ravenously feasting on your skin. It's dripping from my chin. Kind of bars, ain't gonna lie. Hungry for affection, yearning for your touch, battling the beast within in vain. Every time I get anxious, every time I'm in love, nothing satisfies my needs for so long, always searching. What are we talking about here? It's an interesting song, I will say. We're definitely talking about love, but we're like in a graveyard and we're like drinking blood. I don't know. I was expecting it to be a lot more like angry, you know? But flesh habit, I think, could also be like, you know, sex habit. Maybe we're addicted to sex or something like that. I don't know. Or maybe you're thinking about it with your lover, you know, that you may have broken up with. I don't know. It was an okay song. It was kind of a nothing burger song. It's not as bad as Superstitious Visions, but it's down there. Definitely one of the weaker tracks. Hi, Red Cloud. How are you? All right, we got 2 more songs for this record. The next one we're going to get into is called Mistaken for Dead. So now we're talking about dead stuff. Now we're in our dead phase. That's where we're at with this record. We are just talking about a lot of different things. So let's get into Mistaken for Dead. Okay. I think that might have been the first actual solo that they gave room for. So I think there was one other song where they broke a little bit so that the guitar solo could fit for a couple bars. But I think this is the first one where they really like actually shelved out space for the solo. The solo was really, really nice. So now we've come full circle back to where we started on this record with Oblivion and Dead Star, doing the revival old school death metal sound. So now we're back there, Mistaken for Dead, delivering straight death metal. We have now left the mellow death, the sad boy era behind. The solo reminded me of Deicide, stuff that I've heard with Deicide, stuff that I've heard with Cannibal Corpse. I liked it. I liked the solo, but everything else is kind of nothing burger. I mean, I think it's fine. It's not the most memorable by any means. I think they've had a lot better songs on the album, but I did really like the solo. I like that they brought that in, and I kind of expected it too, because this is the second to last song, with the last song we're about to get into being almost 6 minutes long. So what they're doing right now is they're building it up. So they're going to give us this solo, and then I'm assuming that Tears Fall from the Sky is going to be this epic ballad jam that's gonna really send us home. You know, it's really gonna just leave us off on this listening experience. At least I'm hoping, based on how long it is. I hope that they give it their all and they give us everything. They've been experimenting with a couple things. We heard Tambo a little bit. I think in Flesh Habit they brought it back, so I'm hoping that they pack a punch for this last song. So that one, Mistaken for Dead, it's not horrible. It's just not super memorable, but I did like the solo. So that's like the most memorable part of the song. Why do you keep saying burger all day for? Nothing burger. I don't know. I like the saying nothing burger. I kind of just like, you know, that's my word of the day. So if you don't like that, then sucks to be you, I guess. How is this song? This is how you know that this song is going to be a ballad, because look at the lyrics. Bestie. This is a 6-minute song. and that's all we have to work with, that's how you know this song is going to be very instrumental. Not complaining, observation. Lyrics are overrated. It's true. It's true. Sunlight never arrives, permanent darkness beckons me, a velvet tragedy, screams of agony ring through the night. And that's basically what we got to work with. So, all right. I'm here for it. Let's get into the last song, and that is Tears Fall from the Sky. We're pulling up strings, I think. We do have synths layered over it. Very faint, though. And they really only, like, pulled them up. They really only pulled them up towards the end as they were fading everything else down. So, I really like that ending, actually. It's not what you would expect, because I expected, like, maybe they would make this, I mean, without looking at the lyrics, I expected that maybe they would, almost a 6-minute track, it would be a lot of instrumentals, they would have some sort of guitar solo or something like that. But I really like the direction that they took with that, because rather than it just being this, like, super aggressive, in-your-face song, they went into this direction of doom. Yeah, it was, like, very death doom. It kind of reminded me of, like, Amorphous' first album. We also listened to Ahab recently for Patreon, and that kind of gave me that vibe a little bit. So I really liked it. I liked the dual guitars at the end. I like how they faded it. And it was just this really nice, mellow, chill, melodic, doomy song. And I love the deep vocals for, I think it was the word storm. I can't do it, but storm, it's like so low and buttery and deep, that I'm obsessed with buttery, deep, doomy vocals. So I would also give it a 7.5 out of 10. So my final thoughts for this record, I think that, I think that this is a fine album. I think what they're doing on here is, it's not pushing the envelope by any means. This is not anything particularly new. It's their third album, and based on what chat's saying, it's a more diverse album. It's not their usual sound, so it's more, I guess, melodic and more focused on, like, death metal, because they have more hardcore, metalcore sounding tracks, I guess, in their previous albums. Based on this record alone, though, I like the different experimentation they have within the instrumentals. So the first half of the album, or like the first two songs, for example, Dead Star and Oblivion, are very, like, death metal, right? So I really like that aspect. Then we get The Black Curtain, which is the single that they released for this album. I think that song is really, really great. One of my favorites definitely coming out of this record. If there's one thing that I took away from this album, it was the riffs. Like, the guitar riffs are super catchy and they're just fun and memorable. I really liked The Black Curtain. I still think Masterpiece of Chaos is the weakest song. It's just a nothing burger. It literally doesn't offer anything to the song. Superstitious Visions, I also think, is a weak track. And then I think it was Mistaken for Dead, I think, is also a weak track, I think is what we decided. So I definitely think The Black Curtain is really good. I really like Tears Fall from the Sky. And I liked the kind of sad boy, mellow death vibes that we got with A Chilling Aura and Obviously, Tears Fall from the Sky. We also got that with Flesh Habit too. So they kind of experimented with some of the typical like gory death metal lyrics. We talked a little bit about Blood and like Flesh Habit, Mistaken for Dead. I think we talked about, you know, coffins and death a little bit, but everything else was kind of surface level a little bit. So not in a bad way. It was just like we were talking about, felt like more personal issues, you know. So this is a pretty solid record. I would give it a 7 out of 10. I think it's experimenting a lot with a variety of different things, and yeah, I think it's pretty good.